Of course, I'd be on holiday when the band decides to drop the first single. Just typical. Hence, this video is out a little later than planned. But I guess the added benefit is I've now had time to listen, re-listen and really digest this first single. Let me know what you guys think of the new single in the comments below. So just to start off by stating the obvious here, this song that the Monkees have dropped is an unconventional first single from an album launch. It is certainly not a 3-minute, fast-paced, catchy tune that's fit for the radio. In fact, it would probably stand out like a sore thumb if it was played on the radio. So why did Arctic Monkeys choose a jazzy slow burner to be the first single from this new album? My view, I think it's a statement from the band. I mean, we already know that there are catchier, faster-paced songs on this new album. For example, the new song that Arctic Monkeys have been debuting, I Ain't Quite Where I Think I Am, has all of the hallmarks for me of a conventional first single. We know from the band playing this live that the song is around the 3-minute mark, and it has AM style falsetto vocals, it has a conventional verse-chorus structure, and a catchy Jimi Hendrix style riff that uses a wah pedal. Steve Lamacq from BBC Radio 6 has also backed this up, essentially stating that Mirrorball doesn't actually reflect the overall sound of the new album. Lucky guys already heard quite a lot of the album, I see. Perks of the job, I guess. So why go for Mirrorball as a first single? Well, I think it's a statement from the band in terms of where they're headed next in their revolution. But I also think it's a very divisive song to release first, which makes it a fantastic marketing tool. The internet is split and we're all talking about it. When you think about it, it's genius. There's not even a sniff of self-promotion from the band. They've essentially just dropped this super controversial single and let the world debate amongst themselves. Effortless from the band, really. Which brings me on to how this new song, Mirrorball, sounds. Effortless was really the first thing that came to mind here. It's just such an easy listen. It's so easy on the ear, and it's easy and simple in terms of production also. When you listen to what's going on instrument-wise, it's actually not a lot really. I mean, sure, there's a big string section, but then you've really just got bass guitar, a drum kit, a single piano, and that's really about it. For me, this new single actually sounds a lot more different than Tranquility Base, more so than I think a lot of people are saying. I mean, I certainly felt that with Tranquility Base, at times on that record, there was so much going on in terms of instrumentation and layering that I wasn't quite sure where to focus my attention as the listener at some points in that record. But with this new song, I kind of feel like Arctic Monkeys have taken a leaf out of Rick Rubin's book, from a production standpoint anyway. I'm seeing parallels to the latest Strokes record, only adding what actually needs to be there and removing anything that doesn't actually serve the song. And the result for me is just something that doesn't sound overworked. It's effortless, such an easy listen. Everything that's there sounds like it was meant to be there. Even the vocals on this record are a proper throwback to the early days of the Monkees for me. You know, the days in which Alex's vocals were really the only ones featured in the songs. Well, most of them anyway. In this song we have what sounds to be a single vocal take, just Alex. And I think it's really clever actually. Having a single vocal for me makes this song sound really intimate and personal. And I just think that the sound of the vocal as well fits with the overall aesthetic of the song. I think Alex is talking about a breakup in this new tune, and having just a single isolated vocal throughout the whole song really kind of matches that theme of loneliness I think the band are going for here. I mean, the band could have easily just added AM style falsettos and doubles and things, but they didn't. And it just works. The lyrics are also just easy and to the point. I feel as though Alex isn't trying too hard here. He's not trying to be overly clever with metaphors or fictional narratives like he was on Tranquility Base. Here it's way more direct and just simple. Again, a bit like the lyrics on the first few albums were. And they're also more personal and introspective than a lot of the songs on Tranquility Base. I mean, when you actually stop and read the lyrics, it kind of reads like a diary entry almost. The result for me is way more natural sounding, relatable and accessible to the average listener. And just whilst we're on this theme of introspectiveness, Matt did say that this new album was going to pick up where Tranquility Base left off, and I can't help but think he means this in a literal sense as well. The Ultra Cheese, the last song on Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, is really the only song on that record that's truly personal and introspective and about relationships, I guess. And those melancholic, nostalgic and bittersweet themes of having to move on from something in that song are also present on this new tune, Mirrorball. Lyrics like, "Don't get emotional, yesterday still leaking from the roof, Baby It's Been Nice really fit with this theme. Now, not to forget also on the lyrics front, this song does mention the car, the title track of the new album. And that leads me to believe that the car must have some significance in the narrative of this new album. But what it is, I'm not quite sure yet. The opening string section to the song was fascinating for me also. It kind of sounds like a string section from an old James Bond film. And when that chord change happens at 33 seconds in, you know, the bit where that James Bond villain type chord just comes out of nowhere and gives you chills. Just brilliantly executed. Not to mention there are strings all over this song as well. And the song sounds really dynamic. There are moments where the strings are at the forefront of the song, like at the beginning and at the end. And there are moments where the strings are kind of playing the supporting layer beneath the other instrumentation, like in the verses. I thought it sounded particularly puppety. And a lot like Richard Hawley's music. I mean, just listen to his song, The Ocean. I assume you lead me down. Now, we know that the Arctic Monkeys and Richard Hawley are good friends and they go way back. Richard Hawley's even appeared on a past B-side called You and I with the Monkeys during the Suck It and See era. And I think now that the band are a bit older, maybe they're wearing his influence on their sleeves a little bit more. So, love it or hate it, for me, the band are just continuing to progress, develop and push the narrative on this new tune. The narrative being that they're one of the best British bands of all time. Why? Well, for me, they continue to evolve, they keep us guessing, and they deliver ambitious music, especially for a 4-piece indie rock band. You just never know what they're going to do next, and when they do release an album, it's a proper event. Which brings me to the title of their first ever album, and how much relevance that still has today. Whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not. Rings truer than ever today, doesn't it, when you try and label this band as an indie rock band or a Britpop band. Mental how cyclical this stuff ends up being. And if this album does indeed deliver and explore this sound fully, not to hype up the band too much, but I do think they're entering GOAT status now. They're sort of entering the territory that's occupied by the likes of Oasis, Stone Roses, Rolling Stones, etc. Now, aware that that's a pretty bold statement, so maybe let's just see what the album's like before we revisit this topic. We're at a stage now where we've heard 2 songs from the new 10-track album, and for me, I think there's a lot more that meets the eye with these first 2 songs in terms of what this album's actually going to be about. I think the lyrics and certainly the music video for Mirrorball are giving us big clues. So I'm making an updated theory video on what I think all of this means. Stay tuned for that, it's coming very soon. And as mentioned earlier, make sure you leave a comment down below letting us know what you thought of this new song. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you excited for the new direction and the new sound of the Arctic Monkeys? But for now, if you did enjoy the video, make sure you give it a like, it really helps the channel out, and subscribe for more content like this. And I'll see you soon.